Hello and welcome back to another episode of the FNtasia podcast. My name is Levin2K. I am joined by the big dog Reese Hub and the return of the man with all of your favorite puns.
Puns,
The
yeah,
puns,
I'm known
you
for
can never
that,
get it
for
wrong.
sure.
Teddy is joining us on the pod again. We have our ginger for the episode joining us.
We've had a lack of ginger on the episode recently. You know, I mean, someone could go back and figure out when the last ginger on this podcast was, but this has got to be like the driest ginger streak we've had.
And I just want to tell the audience I've only been away for so long because I've been searching for Coach Harry. I've scoured the world, gone across. You know, I've been to Nepal, I've been to Australia, I watched the Great Wall of China, all looking for Coach Harry, and I'm still yet to find him.
Yeah, I was going to say, notice all of this effort and searching, and he's nowhere to be found. She's gone.
Bloody Harry, man.
I mean, look. Last time we did say he was basically dead. This time, Teddy's been saying he's looking and not find him. You got to look 6 feet under, mate. That's where it is.
I mean, yeah, you've been looking in the wrong places, buddy. Got to look for a tombstone. Oh my God. All right, shout out to Harry. Look, we got an interesting episode on our hands today because I thought we spend a lot of time on this podcast talking about Fortnite and giving our takes, giving our opinions. And this is something that, I have personally been really involved in the community doing for a long, long time. But for people who may not know the origins of Level UK, I used to do this series on Twitter about 5-6 years ago in the Fortnite community, which was basically just called Unpopular Opinions. And I'd have people from the community submit all of their opinions to me and I'd post them anonymously, because I know a lot of people are scared to say how they feel. And that's still the case today. And so what I wanted to do is just with you guys, take a look at some unpopular Fortnite opinions from 5 years ago and see whether they've aged well or aged poorly. Spoiler alert, I'm kind of mixed between. I think some of them I'm like, this guy must have worked for Epic or something. And some of them I'm like,
This is going to be such a good podcast. When you told me this idea, Levin, I was like, I'll do the verbal meme, of the guy like behind the tree clasping his hands together. Yeah. Exactly. Very appetizing topic for sure.
There's a lot of really good ones. I do also have I did scour Reddit as well. So I went to the Fortnite comp Reddit and looked for some of the takes from years ago as well and see some of the things people were saying then. So I'm actually going to start with the Reddit and look at some of the Reddit takes, and then we will get to some of the unpopular opinions from my Twitter as well. Okay, which one do we start with? There's so many good ones here. This one, I think, let me just say it and I'll get your reactions. Fortnite got worse and the community got more toxic when comp lowered the age to 13. This game would be better off if the age was still 16 plus. And that was, what year was that from? 2020. This one specifically from Reddit is from 2021. Right. Is when the person made that thread.
So I can't comment on how toxic it was prior to this because I was just basically watching a couple streams and I can't really say I was involved, but most of the toxicity does not come from 13, 14, and 15-year-olds currently. It's like, if you see an awful tweet, I guarantee you click on their page and they've got a football profile picture and it says 17 in their bio. Being under 16, I don't think has really any correlation with being toxic. If anything, a lot of those players, I don't want to say are less toxic, but I don't think there's any correlation with that whatsoever.
I think the other thing is Fortnite competitive barely existed before they lowered the age gap. Right, it was really 1 year, maybe 3 major tournaments. All of them were NA based. All of them were invite based. So it was really cool at that time because the biggest streamers were in all the tournaments. Like Tfue was doing well in the tournaments, and people were like, "Oh, when's Ninja going to come back? He could do well in these tournaments." So it was just a very, very different time. It's actually unbelievable knowing what we know now that time existed. But yeah, I'm with Reese. I don't really think that it's the young guys. And because of that, we have some of these guys like Savage and Mongrel and Clicks and who have been with us now for 7, 8, 9 years. And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I land a bit in between you guys. I disagree with one thing you said, Reese. I think almost every single time I see a bad tweet, and I've been saying this for years, and it hasn't changed for years, which is why I disagree with what you said. If you see a bad tweet, it's always you click on their profile and they have an England flag and they are 15 every single time. And I've been
You
saying
have
this
said
for
that.
people
I've
who
increased
have
the
been
age to
listening to
17,
me
but-
people who've been listening to me for long. No, I've been saying this for there's something about being from the UK and being 15 that makes you insufferable in Fortnite. And so
You were there at one point, you know. Imagine, you know, how
No, I
insufferable
wasn't.
were you at 15?
I
you know?
mean, but when I was 15, I wasn't in the Fortnite com. So
Yeah, but were you insufferable? Is it just like
I probably was insufferable. Yeah, I was probably.
that's what I'm saying? Do you get to that and then you hit 16 and then you're like, I'm a chill guy
I was
now.
really
I think that's
annoying
what happens.
until I was like 21 or 22. I was
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very, very annoying.
I was
think
until
that's
the
what
last
happens.
year, you know.
Yeah, fair. Me, actually, me too.
Yeah, the reason why I do think the take is horrible is just because there are so many amazing like Fortnite players and stories we've had of people who just wouldn't have been able to be involved in competitive had it been 16 plus. Like the time you mentioned, you know, but it was made to 13 plus and allowed everybody. There were a bunch of like 13-year-olds in that playing, but they had no hope because it was like, well, if World Cup's going to be 16 plus, then we're finished. You know, like what can we do? And a lot of the ones that kept grinding just in case it got changed ended up being some of the best players of all time, people who we, you know, love and still talk about to this day. Savage, Clicks, etc., etc. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be changed. I wouldn't want it. I don't think it was bad from that perspective, but I do agree that a lot of the kids in Fortnite make the community a worse place in that, like, they're just like kids, you know? I almost can't blame them, you know? Like, I say the whole thing about 15-year-olds being annoying, but like, at the end of the day, like, I get it because they're all 15 and don't know no better. I think we as a community need to do a better job of shaming the children into obedience is what we really need to be doing, you know?
That's
the
funny
difference.
because when you started that sentence, what I thought you were going to say was, we need to be more accepting of the fact that they're young and stupid.
No.
But you're
No.
like, we need to shame them. Because as
Yeah,
you said
absolutely.
that, I was like, man, every time I stream a solo event, I feel so bad afterwards. Because I just shouting at people who are just so stupid. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you fighting me backside? And then I'm like, I take some time, I reflect, I eat my food, and I'm like, that's probably some like 13-year-old who just thinks he's Peter, but doesn't know any better, you know.
It's like some
but maybe you're
14-year-old
right.
kid
I
from
actually need to get
Estonia.
angrier, and I need to be,
Yeah,
I need to be screaming more at them.
2026, turn up the volume. You know,
Yeah,
we
turn
do,
that shit up to facts.
When I was 15 and insufferable, I was like playing CS back then. And even though I was an insufferable 15-year-old, I kind of had to stay in my place because all the adults in the CS community were like, we don't give a shit what these kids are talking about, you know? Like, whereas in Fortnite, we platform the children too much. We need to actually just shut them down and say, guys, you're cracked and creative or whatever, but enough, you know?
I like that take.
And you know what? When I was 15, there was no social media. There was no internet. There was no phones. There was no electricity, right? So it's just really different. So I don't know how I would have been at that time had, you know, there been electricity. So
Less punny.
Exactly. So, you know, I could have been really, really, really insufferable too, right? So I don't want to, you know, I want to be the accepting one.
Wow.
You're
big dogs
hypothetically
Bigger man.
insufferable.
Really.
Yeah.
Next take. This one's from 2019. Turbo build shouldn't be in competitive Fortnite.
Yep. 100%.
I have unique experience in this, right? Because why did I do this? Did they disable they did something with turbo build. I can't remember what it was.
They like made it longer. Like it wasn't as
recently, sorry.
Recently?
This year. Because I did one game where I disabled turbo build. I can't remember if this was for a video. I actually totally you know my shit memory, but I can't remember what I did. I hosted a single custom. Whoever won it,
yes, and you
wins
was like, no
$100.
turbo build allowed.
Yeah, everyone has no turbo build. And I'll be honest, it was basically exactly the same. Like there was really not much difference. Like I was worse, obviously. But like the fast, good players, you can still build a box. You can still do all the defensive stuff. You just have to click a couple more times. All that would happen if turbo build was disabled is that people would just macro place build, and you, as soon as you held like left click to place it, they would just like turbo spam it. So it's like there is literally no point in doing it. I think a better question though would be what would happen if it was never added. Like if they always had the ability just to single click. And I think a lot of the same things would still happen. The game would just look a little clunkier, really.
I think the name Turbo Build also just makes it sound way more than it might be. It's just like, what Turbo Build? Like, it just makes it, I don't know, it's branded like that. But what would the game be like? You know, I think Ozzy was talking about this once, and he was like, I'll try to do an Australian accent here, just, for the audience. And he was like, the game was supposed to be like everyone would get in forts, and like, they wouldn't be turbo building. There would be like little bases around the map. And it was, I think that was the developer's intent. So I think I think that was maybe what Epic thought the game was going to be. Like, it was going to be the actual zombie horde rush,
Right.
with building. So then I think when people say turbo building ruined the game, they're like, turbo building took away that fork in time for that version of the game to exist, which is definitely not true.
Yeah,
definitely not true.
Right.
Especially this year, if you look at the evolution of surge trading, turbo build had nothing to do with that. And really, we are actually playing this year. If you can think about it, we've played true Fortnite.
Exactly.
This is the most forts we've ever built in our lives with the metas we've had this year.
Yeah,
and turbo
Fort
build
Day.
has had Fort Day,
Yeah,
Fort Morning,
Fort Morning,
Fort Eve,
Fort Evening,
yes.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
And it was mid, and we all said it was turbo and needs to be changed. So there you go.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think turbo. I think the turbo build obviously made the game way faster. But I think all the same people would be like equally as good. It wouldn't actually make a real difference on anything. I actually just think people that are worse would be worse, if anything, because it's harder to like time the clicks right. I think it would be even bigger of a skill difference. Maybe. That's maybe hypothetical. Hard to say though.
Could be, yeah.
What do you think? You've not dropped any thoughts.
Oh yeah, did I not say anything?
Nah.
I just realized I didn't. I don't think it would make that much of a difference. Again, this is like a period in time in Fortnite where it definitely increased the skill gap, right? Like in terms of like it, if you think about it as like an actual cap, like it just like raised it a bit so people could sort of do more, and it gave access for more people to do more. But it also, like you said, it raised the lower level, because I remember before turbo building, people were still like crazy. This was like the time in Fortnite where like the game was evolving so much and people were trying and doing like really crazy stuff, to where like if we didn't have turbo build, there'd probably still be people who can do all the same stuff we currently do now. And then you just wouldn't be able to be anywhere near it without turbo. Like, it would just be harder for like the average and lower level person. Yeah, I don't think it I think that's I think it's a bad take, and it's aged poorly from the perspective of like I don't think turbo building had the impact people thought it did back then, and still even now.
No, I also think this was a bad take in 2019 or 2020 or whatever the year this was. Like, I don't think this was ever a good take,
Even the pros playing zero build now, like Ninja, would have disagreed with this take in 2019.
Yeah, especially because I didn't highlight this enough, but the way they worded it seemed very specific to competitive Fortnite, right? So I think actually, like, I didn't read the whole thing that they said, but I think you could imagine a world where they're like, no, actually keep turbo building in Fortnite, but just specifically for comp Fortnite, you can't turbo build. Which in that case, it'd be like, I don't think it makes even any difference in that sense even more.
No. There's also one other very important thing that when you don't have turbo build that you cannot do, and that's hold a wall when you're being sprayed. So if you were in like trios or duos or squads, you just see someone, you can literally just kill them. Like, you just shoot them and they're dead.
Yeah.
It's genuinely not very, very, very bad. And of course, if you were macroing, you could always place it, but yeah, let's not do that.
All right, last Reddit one before we read out some of the unpopular opinions from my Twitter. In 2019, somebody said, more people in the final circle doesn't make lobbies more competitive.
Was this, like, is there context where this person's coping for not making enough end games or something like that?
Well, basically, yeah, they basically were just saying, like, having 60, 70 players in that last zone, like, it just creates, like, it's not more skillful because it's, like, just more chaotic, and like you're adding more RNG, so it's less impactful on, like, it's less definitive on who's the most skilled person rather than how luck plays into it.
Do you mean last circle as in final moving or before moving?
Or just I think generally speaking, like, I say think of it just in general, like the more people, because basically, before you guys give your thoughts, the way I see this take is that there is a balance, right? Like, there has to be a certain amount of people. There's a certain point where there's enough people to where, like, it's really skilled and it shows, like, your ability to maneuver and read the playing field and, perceive and then act on what you're perceiving in, like, a very meaningful way, and you have control within yourself. But then at a certain point, I do think, yeah, like, it's just full, like if you just like you asked me to define that, like is it actually last circle, right? Like if you just dropped like 100 people into final moving, I wouldn't be sat there saying like this is the pinnacle of who's the most skilled. There's a balance that I think you have to get, and so like in a weird way, like I don't agree. Like when I hear this take, I don't agree with it, but I kind of do.
Yeah.
Can I ask the Big Dog a question quickly?
Hit me with it.
Should we interpret this as generously as 11 interpreted it?
No. So here's the thing, right? I think like with stackedness, generally, stackedness is a symptom of the average skill level of the lobby and the need to do something in that match, right?
Yes.
It's not. It doesn't. It's not the other way around where you see, it's stacked, therefore it's it's a high level lobby. It's stacked for a specific reason, and that can be you can have the worst players of all time and have a super stacked game, right? Like, and those games are easy. That's the one big thing, right? If you drop into like a low elo game at say in duos, right, and it's the last game of the tournament, and everyone's like, oh, we got a qual, we're in that qualification range, and no one fights or does anything like that. That some of those games are literally the easiest games in the world because if you know how to play Surge, or if you just rotate early and grab a hill, you can be 2k above Surge by shooting the worst players who don't know how to rotate of all time, right? So like just because it's stacked, that doesn't mean it's more competitive. It just means that people don't want to fight and there's something to go for. In an FNCS Grand Finals specifically, obviously there's something to play for. Where the fact that everyone wants to win FNCS, qualify to a globals, or win more money, right? So it's just a symptom of the area that you have. So I can't say I agree that. Can you wait? Can you reword it again? I need to see if I agree or disagree with what they said.
So they said. So I'll read it. They said more people in the final circle doesn't mean a more competitive lobby. Just makes it more of a fiesta and more RNG.
So I don't say more RNG. That part I don't agree with, but I actually kind of agree with the rest of the take. I don't think it's more competitive. It's just that there's something to play for in that specific match. Therefore, those people are not fighting as much.
I'm going to give this partially true. Partially true.
Yeah.
It's the dynamic that is why all the elimination records happen in victory cups.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's trying to stay alive, and then you put a shark in there like Peterbot or Marius or Poyo, and they're just...
Or me.
Eat it up.
Cook. Right? But obviously, the fact that there's a large amount of people in an endgame figuring out how to get to an endgame, what the rotation is, what the mat farming, the looting is, getting kind of the one or two refreshes, like that is obviously skillful. So more people being in the endgame means on average the lobby is becoming more skillful, would be my argument. And there's
a cap because the game itself caps like how many people you can have anyway because of like Surge and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why everyone's like, oh, these EU lobbies are crazy. Look how high the Surge is getting. And that's because everybody in that lobby is skilled, talented, good enough to like push the Surge to a whole new limit. And if they uncapped Surge on one of these like elite EU lobbies, there'd be like 99 people in the last zone because these players know what the F they're doing.
Yeah. What actually is the number? Quickly before we move on. What if you had a full lobby of Peter bots? How many? And there's no cap on Surge, so Surge is not limiting how many people can be in the lobby. Full lobby of Peter bots, 100 Peter bots. How many Peter bots make it to the final movements?
Can I Gen Z this? 6'7".
Okay. That's a good number.
Start of final moving zone
Yeah.
or end?
Start of final moving zone.
30. I mean,
30.
Yeah, it's gotta
be more.
No, because a peer bot's gonna try and shit on another peer bot, bro. Like,
and Peterbot's not getting shit on though.
Okay, how about
maybe they trades,
Peterbot's skill with like Cammy or Queasy's game sense, right? Like literally the perfect Fortnite specimen. I think that's what we're trying to say, right?
I still think thing is though, like you still have to be able to play out your mats properly.
Yeah,
and
you have to have loot and mats.
Yeah, you can't just like tarp for 12 zones, and if you keep getting pullbacks, you could have a higher number. But like we've seen games in trios and stuff that have 20 people final moving zone. Even close to 30, and I can't remember what meta it was this year or last year. There was some tournaments that were crazy with that already. So I think 30 people final moving zone. If it's all solos, maybe even less. Depends. Again, it depends on like the mobility and stuff. I think if all those people were able to play out their mats, there's no way. If you had a Peter bot and 30, they're going to take advantage of if one other Peter bot's run out of mats and sees them on low ground, and you can clean them up and stuff. So
I do think like there are to Reese's point, there are limiting factors beyond Surge that clean these lobbies up. And if you go back and look at the old matches, they are pretty stacked, but they are not meaningfully more stacked than the current matches now. Like there's probably like 5 teams doing heal off in some of these matches versus 2 teams now. It's not like so out of whack to what it is today. And the players back then, like Tfue, if you like go watch his matches, he's playing for endgame and he's playing to like have bandages in a heal off, or he's playing for the same objectives that pros would be playing for now, right? To win these games.
Yeah, but you weren't Peterbot though. That's the problem, lad. You know, when it's Peterbot, it's different. All right, interesting. Now let's look at some of the ones from Twitter. We'll do a couple of these because there were some decent ones and some that are troll based off of the era. The first one we will do. It's so funny, bro. 2020 was a real time. Let's just say this. The first take from 2020 Unpopular Opinion series. Controller shouldn't be allowed in PC competitive unless aim assist is fully disabled.
Bad take. Horrible take. Especially like, it depends at what point in 2020 that was, because obviously aim assist got nerfed massively in 2020. You know, if this was pre-aim assist nerf, I can get the frustration because that shit was crazy, man. Like, you know, the Unknown Army clips from that time, the dominance of some of the controller players around then was truly not. Especially, I think it was funny because before that you had the legacy aim assist, which is the one you could spam right trigger and like continually track them as they were moving and like dink headshot, which was nuts. But then I think 2020 was also the time when you had the newer aim assist, like the linear and the exponential, and you could choose which one you wanted. So it's like you could either have the linear or the linear expo, the new settings, where you could run in the box and have like the best aim of all time, or you could have the legacy aim assist where you could do like long range dink tags from like 250 meters away and just continually hit shots. So like the frustrations around that time, I understand why they were high. Looking now how things have moved on, first the aim assist obviously been nerfed, has been buffed slightly, like I think last year or this year. But you know, it's in a place now where no one's really moaning about aim assist. Like you don't have pros who are like, oh, this aim assist is so broken. You don't, like, every game you're playing, if you're playing a tournament and someone runs in your box with an SMG or an AR, you're not going, oh man, he was on controller because he's dink me. More of the times you say he's on controller because they make a stupid play and they just run at you. But it's not because of the aim assist specifically. So I don't think it was an aim assist being a thing that's a problem. It was more the balance of that. Like, how good is it? Like, aim assist on controller, you should be worse than a keyboard and mouse player in a lot of instances. And that's kind of what it is right now. So I think like they've actually got a really good balance to the point where now you've got increasing player numbers because you have all those people who are on controller, but you've not got an overpowered system that doesn't take as much skill as an aimer on keyboard and mouse.
All right. First, I'm going to go into the time machine. In 2020, especially on NA, that was a good take. NA comp is super weird at that time, and it's purely because of controller. I'm going to list off some of the FNCS winners in 2020.
It was crazy,
on NA.
I can't lie.
Okay.
Crazy.
Unknown Army.
Yeah.
On his team was somebody called Stable Ronaldo, who soon after this, about a year and a bit after this, stopped competing altogether.
Moved on to better things.
A guy called Kez.
Yeah.
Okay.
The band.
Kez. Yeah.
And then a player called Avery, who, you know, things turned out pretty well for him. Okay.
Right.
In the second FNCS, we had Zayton Saf, the great keyboard, like maybe one of the most impressive FNCS wins of all time, given what happens next. Okay. Solos, a guy called Furious wins.
Big Furious.
Then the next FNCS, a guy called Coop wins. Okay.
One of the most slandered FNCS wins of all time.
He is one of the, he is.
He did play well. To be fair, kind of for narrative purposes, that was a 6-game solo FNCS. So, like, that's like RNG up the wazoo.
Yeah.
And then next FNCS, a potentially, everyone's saying he's washed, a washed IGL called Reverse 2K finds 2 controller players called Day and Miro, right? And he wins a shocking FNCS from quite a mid drop spot. So that, like, I'm counting, that's like 75% controller players. One FNCS, one FNCS in that era.
And today, one of the keyboard mouse players is Ronaldo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like
a piece of insight from that time, because I do remember when I was running like that series on Twitter, a lot of the takes were about controller. Like a lot of them were about controller. like Teddy spot, like controller was so topical back then because of what was going on in NA, and just the state of control in the game at the time was very strong. And then obviously Epic addressed it. So.
That being said, EU, maybe this is like actually how EU wins this argument forever. Who won FNCS at that point? Janice, mouse and keyboard, good player, right? Went on to win a great deal more. A little someone, have you heard of him? Called Tayson, right? You know, I think everyone's heard of him. Yeah, you've heard of him, right? Reese has definitely heard of him. Levin, I'm not so sure. Reese has definitely heard of him. Okay, and then again, Tayson with these two kind of like really unknown but quite cracked players called Mongrel and Mitro, who I believe are mouse and keyboard, and I believe one of them, based on a clip, is virulently anti-controller player. So maybe
I think they were all anti-controller players. Some more vocal than others.
So maybe that's like the EU. You know, that's like the trump card forever in this debate, being like NA couldn't get its controller problem under control. EU had that shit on lock from the beginning.
That's actually
it's a good point.
The thing is, though, also with what you're saying is on NA, it also continued after that with like with reverses team obviously won a lot as well.
But I do think Miro is like a true winner. You know, when people are like, oh, that player, like Luka Modric, he's a gamer, right? Like he's in there, he's like making all the plays to win, etc. Miro is like a mix of high skill and knows the secret ingredients in the heat of battle to actually win matches. So I think it's tough to just pin Miro's success on
definitely
on aim assist.
Yeah, it would be a bit unfair on him.
It's actually crazy though. I'm looking through all of the FNC wins on NA East, right? And it's like, you know, you sort of start like Zexro, Calc, Macwood, not controller. Yeah. Then, you know, you started it where you had Unknown, and then Chapter 2, Season 2, none, because it was 8 and Saf. Then you had Furious, then you had Coop, then you had Miro and Day, and then it was Slacks, Acorn, Jack, and then you had Day and Miro, and then Pam's 2-1 All-Stars. And then you had like the one where it's like Duke's users just assist. They're all keyboard mouse. And then it's Miro and Miro again, and then Miro again, and then it's Peterbot and Byla. Byla's also controller player. Yep. And now you're already into like Chapter 3. So, you know, you're like, after that point, that's kind of, you know, when it was mainly just keyboard mouse players after that. But like outside of the laggy globals.
Reese, you don't have to remind us. NA's a dusted region. Like we've been
dusted,
knowing
bro.
this.
Can I
cheeks like
do one thing based off of what Reese said before? Do you think that we're in perfect balance for the inputs, or do you think they've overcorrected against controller? Because the input statistics in grand finals would say maybe there's a slight overcorrection. And then I guess the next question is, can you even out the inputs without giving controller an advantage in kind of short-term aim, like spraying and box, because they have disadvantages in maybe speed of building and they have disadvantages in long aim?
I mean, I think the way I've always thought about it is that controller is a worse input for gaming, full stop, right? Like you just have access to less. And I think if you're going to choose something like that, you are just going to be at a disadvantage. Like that's my personal opinion. I've always thought like if you're going to choose it, you should be at a disadvantage because it's the easier input, quote unquote. And the one difference when I noticed, one of the big things I think a lot of people don't talk about is that with an aim assist, your shotgun shots, the likelihood of you hitting like a sub 100 body shot is really low, right? It's so easy to hit like a max body shot with it. Whereas if you're on keyboard mouse, it's so hard. It's really easy, to hit like a 40 or a 30 or something. And that's why like a lot of those kind of
setups. I always know in creative when I'm against a controller player. Because they just only hit 100 every time.
Yeah. And it's not even like a max headshot. It's just, there's just like, because of the aim assist, you're locked into so much of the character model. So, I mean, that's the only thing. I'm not trying to say they have an advantage. I'm just saying like there's other things.
Well, look, I just don't believe they don't need to be even. Because like you said,
that's what I'm saying.
Controller is a worse input. And like, from the perspective like, oh yeah, but we should balance everyone so everyone has access. Like, I think they've done a good job of still giving controller players access to the game to where you can play controller and you're not disadvantaged. Like the average controller player is not really that disadvantaged, right? Like I can show you plenty of good controller players, plenty of, you know, ones who can compete and are better than mouse and keyboard players, right? It's only when, like, I think if we're looking at the highest level of Fortnite and going, there's a disparity here, there's not enough controller players, well, yeah, it's not a better input or an equal input. So at the highest level, you should expect there to be more mouse and keyboard players.
There is one
that's
also,
how I see it.
There is also one self-correcting thing where it's like if you're a controller player and you're good, you do get a bit more hype and credit for that. like going back to, do you guys remember when Nick Merckx was streaming and he was like on console and controller, and everyone's like, look how good this guy is, he's on console and controller, right? And that's
I
gone
feel
all
like
the way
that
up
doesn't
to,
happen as much now.
I know,
Yeah.
but that's gonna, I think that went to Miro as well, and to Reed, and some of these guys do get a lot of credit for playing on a worse input and still succeeding really well.
And a lot of what they say, like a lot of what Miro says is, yeah, I just play like a keyboard and mouse player, though. Like, that's how you have to play. You know, you have to think about it like that.
For sure. For sure. All right, which one should I pick then before we go? Here's an interesting one. Gambling on a 50-50 zone is irrational. It's almost always better to be center of the fifth zone than rotate 50-50. So obviously this is back when zones were different, but basically think of it now, it's just like a gambling on like a partial zone, you know, always go for the center zone.
There was a specific game of the Global Championships where Queasy's team did gamble on a partial pool. There was a hill that went, and it was, if they had pulled it, they would be on height in the 7th zone. And it pulled max distance for them through congestion, and they just died. They just absolutely got milked on the way they went there. It was one of their worst games the whole time. However, there was other games where they did the exact same thing, and they were able to take height. It all depends on where you actually want to position yourself and what you want to do. You can take a larger risk by going further deep, closer towards another one. But for the most part, if you've got a zone that can potentially pull to a partial, as long as you put yourself in the best position to rotate towards it, you're chilling. So if you think about one partial, you know, everyone's on this line in the middle. Wait, this is really hard. Where's my camera? There we go. You know, the zone's here. The top half, let's say, is the dead side. You know, if you're fully at this side and you've got to rotate through everyone if you go to the other side, yeah, you're going to have a tough time. But if you're just closer to this side, you have a lot less people because you can have rotation priority over them. Yeah. So basically, it's like, you don't have to gamble by taking a 50-50, by rotating as deep as you possibly can and hoping you pull it. But you can put yourself in a slightly better position to get any better zone.
The next time people say podcasters aren't athletes, I want them to pay attention to what Reese just did, figuring that out on the fly. Like,
backwards is hard, man.
Great.
That's crazy shit.
You look like a football coach. I'm not going to answer this question seriously because I'll get into philosophics of mentality and how you think about, you know, ecological dynamics and things of that nature. But what I will say is it's not always a gamble. Let's just say that. Hey, sometimes the pros know. That's what I'm saying.
Especially
I'm
if your
not
name
gonna
is
say how they
Benji
know.
Fishy.
Hey, do you know what I mean? It weren't a gamble for Benji.
You're on the line with Epic. They're telling you what's coming. They're telling them what's coming next.
Hey man, everyone's saying Booger World Cup knows the zones. That, you know, is it a gamble?
Can I drop a little life lesson based off of what Reese said?
Always.
Anytime you introduce the idea of, in a competitive dynamic, whether it's a stock market, whether it's a sport, whether it's an esport, right? Anytime you say the word always, or you come up with a hard rule, you're automatically screwing yourself over. It's always going to be context dependent. It's always going to be competition dependent. And to your point, right? If you're behind and you need to win game 12 in the FNCS, and the only way you win is if you get the right pull, then of course you're going to gamble the 50-50. Of course you're going to gamble the 50-50 zone. If literally nobody, if literally everyone takes that as a gospel rule, right? You never gamble the 50-50 zone, and they all, what does that mean? They all stay in the middle of the zone? Mm-hmm. Then there's going to be no efficiency to be gained there, right? You're going to, you're equally putting yourself at the whims of RNG, because it's just like, when did you get there? And what's the positioning that you got there? So in any dynamic, competitive setting, whether it's the stock market, whether it's a company that you work for, whether it's, you know, making YouTube videos, right? You always have to make videos exactly like Reese Hub. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah, good. There's only one Reese Hub.
There's a reason every Mechanics of the Pro video does not do good.
Yeah.
A lot of them used to. Now they're not so much. So you're like, there are changes in tides. If I'd said every single time I put out one of those it's going to do well, that's not true though. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do.
Yeah, you got to tap in. To kind of like the kind of this like logical spiritual realm and all of these things, you know, and people call that creativity. People call that, you know, being a contrarian, right? You got to find times in life where you're going to do those things and be different in the right way, because that's where big winning comes from. And guess who understands that? Queasy, Reese Hub, Levin, one of the great casters who's ever lived, right? You know, I'm just, you know, that's going to be the little life lesson for the day. from me.
Or
Thank you,
magical
thank you,
words
thank
of
you.
advice, yes.
Thank you, Teddy.
It's absolutely true.
Beautiful.
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful. The last one we will do. And I'm going to preface this one by saying lots of people disagreed with this take
Ooh.
at the time. Shout out to Somebody's Gun. He's in the comments of this one disagreeing.
It makes me want to agree with that.
My personal favorite Fortnite analyst and caster of all time, Bala TW, he disagreed with this take back in 2020. And so I'll read it out for you guys. Fortnite should get rid of the arena ranking system and add a CSGO based rank system and only allow global elites. For the people who don't know the CSGO rank system, Global Elite was the highest rank in CS. So they're saying global elites should only be the ones allowed to compete in FNCS. Now, the reason why this take is funny, and I wanted to mention it, is because this kind of technically ended up happening 4 years later.
Yeah.
Because we obviously got rid of Arena and had ranked. It's not the ranked he was suggesting, but we did get rid of Arena. And the current FNCS system is a system where Division 1 players are the ones who are able to play in FNCS, which is the top rank of people. So what do you guys think of this take from then in relation to the world we live in now?
This is a tough one because I eat div cups. So like there's one thing that while I was listening to the take, the one thing I was thinking of is like I feel like as time has gone on, I feel like having everyone participate in a tournament is actually more important. You know, I feel like this is actually something that keeps average players really interested. You know, if you say like old Trio Cash Cup formats, it's 1 day and then you can qualify to finals. Negate FNCS for a second. It feels like something like that is much more interesting for the average people because there's a thought of like, oh, I can actually make it to finals. Plus, because you're opening it up to everyone else, there are opportunities for you to be in bad elo and you can have catch-up mechanics and things like this. And oh my god, do I miss that. When you play a Div Cup, like once you get out of the bottom division, it is very evenly skilled. You know, you're in lobbies with everyone your skill level, which means that like every game is kind of tough. It also means that every game's kind of boring, and it also means that because you're in a smaller group, it's very difficult to like have a catch up if you have a bad start, because you're not going to drop like a 10-20 kill game because again everyone's actually around your skill level, and it kind of adds this like frustration to it where you're like, if I start doing bad, it's just over. You know, I feel like I'm in Div 2. I have no chance of making it to FNCS, I'm in Div 4. There's no chance of making it to Div 1 right now, so I can't play FNCS, so it's kind of over. Whereas with the older, more open formats, it's like I can play FNCS. Like I'm ready to jump in. We're ready. We're good to go. And I feel like I've started to appreciate that a lot more as I've been hard stuck in Div 4. Yeah. And you know, and the tournaments just aren't that fun because like I mentioned, if you do bad, there's no low elo games where you can have a win and you can get that like the dopamine or like yes, we're moving up the leaderboard, we're doing well. So I probably would have agreed with this take at the start of the year. Now that I've been playing a lot more, I think I'm going to disagree with it because I think actual open tournaments are just way better for everyone involved. As long as there's enough rounds, obviously, to like cut out, you know, make sure it cuts down to like the top levels and stuff like that to get like, you know, reduce RNG of just being open to like top 50 or something. Obviously the main problem is cheaters, but if we're just assuming there's no cheaters, which is literally never the case, then I think I'm going to disagree.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Like Epic should aim to make these as open as possible while limiting the cheater issue as much as possible. And whatever the balance that they strike is there, probably won't make everyone happy, but I would say that should always be the North Star of the game.
I'd agree with that. All right. Thank you, Levin from 5 years ago, for compiling some unpopular opinions. Maybe we'll revisit some more in the future. This week's question of the week is actually linked with the Comp Awards because shout out to Somebody's Gun again. The Comp Awards for 2025 is kicking off. I think all of us here are on the panel for the Comp Awards, aren't we? So we'll all be voting here soon. And we have a bunch of different categories. We basically did the award show for the Comp Awards for 2024 on the podcast. It was really fun. Reese won a bunch of awards. I won an award. It was great to be able to give ourselves awards on our award show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, it didn't feel rigged at all.
This is it's really just a circle jerk for us, let's be honest.
It is. That is why we do it. But we'll be doing it again this year at the end of December or in the middle of December. I think between the 19th and 21st we'll be doing it. I'll let you guys know the date soon. But essentially, one of the categories is Funniest Moment. It's a community award that you guys can vote on. And Funniest Moment was an interesting category last year because the award the thing that won was not funny and it was terrible. So
what was the one? Do you remember?
It was like Mongrel and Savage announcing they were going to NA. It was like Funniest Moment. And it was
Yes.
It just wasn't funny. And so this year, I want to make sure that the funniest moment is actually something that was funny. And so Reese tweeted out today, what is the funniest moment of Fortnite competitive this year? There were a bunch of different replies. I want to know if you guys have anything top of mind that is the funniest moment. And I want you guys in the comment section below to let us know what was the funniest thing this year to you in competitive Fortnite. I have a couple. I'll let you start, Reese. What comes to mind?
It is just the one that everyone's going to say. We've already talked about this beforehand, so I am just going to spoil it. But it is just Ali A at the Pro-Am. Just
crashing out.
Unreal. Just, there is, like, I'm not trying to say, guys, in the comments, leave other things outside of this. Because I know, I think this is going to be a clear winner. But at the end of the day, him crashing out was by far, that's one of the funniest things I've seen in Fortnite, full stop.
Yeah.
Not even just this year.
Yeah.
The frustration, the whines, the swearing, which I never thought I'd hear.
Right.
Just cinema, mate.
Mongrel's indifference as well. Like, he's like just laughing at him, not helping him. He's just like giggling, looking at his screen. Like, it was truly a perfect funny moment in Fortnite.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to argue with that. It's tough to argue with that. I still think it is funny at the Pro-Am that Nick A30 changed his skin. So he didn't get like camped or whatever.
Yeah,
because that's like, you know, that could easily be described as backing down and giving up. You know, maybe that's the biggest disappointment of the year, and it's actually funny. And I shouldn't be joking about.
It was heartbreaking moment of the year.
I actually have insight into that, and that's actually not what happened, because I did message him about this. I was going to do a short on it. I think I did. I can't remember actually. They actually were just bugged. So they tried to copy everyone's settings and stuff over, and Nicky 30 actually wanted to use his skin, but it just literally wouldn't work when he tried to change it to it. Because I thought a lot of these players, like him and Cypher, wanted to go off of the skin so they wouldn't get stream sniped, but they just literally couldn't put their skin on due to some technical issue.
Damn. When I was thinking about this, I think when I vote for funniest moment, I think I'm going to vote for Ali A, because to me that was the funniest. But other funny moments that came to mind for me, and maybe the second funniest moment of the year for me, and it's very childish, was also from the Pro-Am. And it was when they were doing the walkouts and Venno did the right hand peek. You guys know? Okay.
No, I do.
People remember. They're doing the walkouts, and lovely Loser Fruit is, walking out. And you just see Venno in the back, like trying to get a peek at Loser Fruit, which was really fun. I remember I was doing a viewing party with fucking Reese.
Right, he's got a straight neck after that, I tell you.
Yeah, for sure. I was doing a viewing party with Yomzo and Pink, and I just remember being like, "Hey, what's Venno looking at?" And we all just start cracking up laughing.
That was good.
That was a really good one.
It, man.
He used to call himself Vino the dog, so I guess that's.
I mean, there you go. He wasn't lying. A couple from Global were good as well. Like people like bantering with the French fans was decent. Like Venno again when he called out the French players saying, "Hey, look, there's 0 French players at this land, so stop talking like that." That was kind of funny,
That was good. That was very good.
So there's some decent moments this year. So make sure something dumb doesn't win, guys. We're relying on you, please.
Yes.
Well, you know what else could be considered? There were some, I'm not going to say who did it. There were some pretty good puns on the FNtasia podcast over the last 12 months.
All right, man. Yeah.
Which memorable ones come to mind? Yes.
Yeah, don't recall actually, but maybe there was.
Sorry, fellas. I'm going to
head
leave
out.
you now. But
appreciate you.
It was great.
Always a pleasure to have you, Teddy.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure.
Teddy.
See you soon. See you soon. Well, look, Reese, before we head out, I wanted to bring something back. We got to bring the games back on the pod, and
we have the technology now.
Not all the games require technology. We just weren't doing them. Couldn't be fucked, really. But now that I can be fucked, I'm going to give you a head start. You get to warm up this week and get your brain juices going, so that when when you have some competition, you'll be able to sort of get a bit better.
Yeah.
Give you a head up. You didn't need an advantage. You're always one of the better ones with the games.
Unless it included memory.
No, but even some of the memory ones, because I remember like Harry's Guess Who game. You're always really good at that one.
That's because anytime you said a placement, I was like,
right? Yeah, but that's good memory. So give yourself some credit there, mate. Give yourself some credit.
Okay.
Unless you were cheating, because people accused you of cheating on that game.
Oh, of course. That's because they're losing. The losers always accuse the winners.
No, the fans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Man,
we had fans accused. They thought Reese must be cheating.
They're just boop fans then. They just don't know I got game like that.
Yeah, potentially. But what we're bringing back this week is guess the category. So for the
Oh,
people
shit,
who
this one.
don't remember how this one works, is essentially I have a category in my mind, right? A category could be something very general, like Fortnite players who have won an FNCS, right? And that is the category that I'm thinking of. Reese is going to list off names of people, and I will tell him whether they fit the category or don't fit the category. Based off of him figuring out players which fit the category, he then has to guess what said category is. Good explainer?
Very.
Makes sense?
It's perfect. Okay. I'm going to write down the names on this other sheet on my side here.
So if I'm looking
track,
here,
I am not cheating.
So you know.
So you know.
But you can't really cheat on this one. This one is, you can't really cheat.
You never know.
So you'll be fine. I need to, okay,
you need to cheat.
I need to cheat.
Okay, my first one's, you got to go with the big one. Peterbot.
Peterbot is in this category.
That's a yes. Poyo.
Yes. Poyo is in this category. Yes.
Queasy.
Queasy is in this category. Yes. Flying
Global
Star.
Championship winners?
Global Championship winners is not the category.
Man, imagine if I'd got it straight away. That would have been crazy.
That would have been a great snipe.
Unreal. Okay, so we got it wrong. Swizzy.
Swizzy is in this category.
Okay, Booga.
Booga is not in this category.
Okay, it's funny. I typed no before you said that. That's weird. I'm like, I have this. No, I don't know. This could be a bad thing. This could be a good thing. You never know.
Cammy is in this category.
Seti
is in this category.
Pink
is not in this category.
What do Booga and Pink share in common?
They do share quite a bit.
They're the link here.
They are the link here. Of course, play along for the people at home. Let us know based off of Reese's guesses when you were able to guess the category.
Taste
is in this category.
Alex from OCE
is in this category.
Okay, that cuts out a lot because I was wondering if it would be like people who've played with people, but now they've gone with an OCE player. Right. Cal Gamer. I know this might be testing your Middle East knowledge.
Is Cal Gamer in this category? I don't think so.
Okay. Wait, did you say yes to Alex or no? Sorry.
Yes to Alex. Yes to Alex.
Okay. Yeah. Multiple FNCS
is not the category.
It can't be it because Cal Gamer's a no. So I said that, I was wrong.
Right.
Players who have played on NA at a LAN? No, Cal Gamer would have as well.
Yeah, that's not the category.
That's not the category. Okay.
That's not the category. You were quite close in a way with one of your guesses of the category. Just you almost niched down too much, is what I'd say.
Players who have played on NA?
I would hope Booga would be in the category then, if that was the case.
Yes, you are correct. Yeah. Well, it's not game winners from LANs.
Throw out some more names. You might start to. Mongrel is definitely not in this category.
Definitely hard no.
I'm gonna start giving more in my yes and no.
Okay. Janice.
Janice is not in this category.
What the fuck are we going with here? Trulex
is not in this category.
Veno
is in this category for sure.
People who have played with clicks? No, that can't be right because they're says yes. Global. People who have gone to multiple global championships. No, Booga.
No, not the category. Not the category.
I'm sensing something.
You're in the right realm. It's just, you're just not quite hitting the, I tried to keep it
globals?
easy for you. Not the category.
Top 5.
I tried to keep it like an easy general type one for you. And I picked this one because, another hint here, when we played this game before, I did a similar category to this category, and you were the one that got it right. So I tried to play.
Do you think I can remember what that other version of the game was, though?
Is in this category.
I've made videos on them.
No. Acorn's in this category, but he'd maybe want us to forget he was in this category because of how things ended up.
People who have dudded at a global championship?
No.
That's not Acorn specific, I must say. Fuck, man, I don't know.
Vico's definitely in this category. He would, definitely in this category.
I'm gonna need something. I've got so many players here.
All of these players have something in common, of course, because they're in the same category that they share that is unique to the year of competitive Fortnite we just had.
They were all surge trading at globals.
Technically, yes, but that's not the category.
They all won an FNCS this year.
No. It's so funny because I know everyone has gotten it and they're going to all be so angry at you because
Almost
you're
definitely.
overthinking. It's not too niche. I basically told
2025
you
global
yourself.
qualifiers?
Yes!
There you
Yes.
go. Okay.
That is it. People who were at the Global Championships 2025.
We got there. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the way the game works for the people who, understand or don't understand. We're gonna do one more.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, this is harder but also easier.
Okay.
Which contradicts. This is a contradiction, but hopefully you understand by the time we get to the end. Are you ready?
Peterball.
Not in this category.
Poyo.
Not in this category.
Queasy.
Not in this category.
Ooh. Can't be people who only hit max damage then. Swizzy.
Not in this category.
Me.
Not in this category.
Ooh, wow. I mean, I was obviously putting myself quite high up there.
You've got a lot in common with those guys.
Got a lot in common with those guys. I was bundling everyone together as I would be.
Yeah. Not in this category.
Oh, I thought it was going to be people who didn't qualify to globals this year then. But then I would have been a yes.
That would have been a yes for you.
That would have been a crazy turnaround. Okay, Vico.
Not in this category.
Is anyone in this category? Flixie.
Not in this category.
Clicks.
Not in this category.
Veno.
Not in this category.
Acorn.
Not in this category.
Alex.
Is in this category.
Yes. Shitters from smaller regions. I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to just say yes. I wasn't thinking shitters, but the category is people not from EU or NA.
Let's go. Okay, there we go. I made that back up. That was a fucking hella run.
Catch you back up.
Let's go.
Shitters from smaller regions. That is so good.
Oh, that's class.
My God.
Okay, I redeemed myself after a tough first one. You can get chat. No, not chat. This is not live. But comments. You can't tell me I'm cheating after that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I that was one where it's like you're gonna throw a bunch of names and just, it's gonna be loads of no's. But then once you do get one of the yeses, it's like
instant.
Yeah, you've got to get it. Surely.
I'll take that. I will take that one.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. There's a bunch more we can do. Let us know if there's any games on the pod we used to do that you guys miss us doing. Let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to bring some of them back. Obviously, would love to do Guess Who with Harry if he's ever decides to grace us with his presence.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5 games, stuff like that. We'll be sure to bring them all back. But yeah, we have some interesting eps coming up. I'm going to be in America, going to the States next week, but we will still get some episodes out for you. I want to try to do some different stuff, some cool stuff that I've been thinking about us doing. So
it's a cool episode.
Get to work. No, yeah, this one's been a nice chill episode. It was nice to have Teddy back,
Indeed. Yeah, a
nice
couple puns.
Yeah. Not as many though as you expect from Teddy.
He came out hot with the start of the ep, and then there's no puns after that. So
but yeah. Thanks for joining me, Reese.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for the listeners, to all the people on the lovely Spotify platform, the people who listen on YouTube, the people who listen wherever it is you listen. Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you all on another episode.
Bye.
Goodbye.